Good morning or hello wherever you are. This is Pixie, just doing a quick video update on a few little things. Been doing some more research on greys. I tend to have something that visits me, interdimensional beings. I don't think it's limited to greys, and I've been told it's by them the Orion Orion group they're part of. Yeah, I was just doing some sort of cross-reference research. I saw something on Art Bell. I can't remember the full of his name. Something Chris. Um, he was talking about his grey experiences. Now a lot of it went on to different stuff, and it may be true, may not be true. I think initially when he said about the interdimensional aspects, and that they use it to operate in our reality, so they can actually sort of come in. This is a part of their technology. It's a part of them as well. So it was interesting information, kind of cross-reference to what I was seeing. And he also said about that they at one time went to his apartment. They were right in front of him. There was some instability with him as well. And he said about wanting to shoot him and stuff like that. I think after you've spent a long period of time with him, I don't think you'd want to go out and buy a Magnum and try to kill him. It doesn't make sense. Then, plus they're interdimensional, so what you're going to do, shoot into a shadow. But he said about they had an interest in objects around the home, which is interesting, because often I would see movement at the corner of my eye go towards the kitchen or head towards the bathroom. It was just like a shadow there for a second, less than a second. You just see enough to catch it in your eye, catch it in the corner of your eyes. Or if you're looking straight ahead, you see something that looks like an outline of something there, but it has no physical real shape. It's a bit like when you look at heat coming off concrete, like a slight distortion in the air. You're looking at it and you're thinking it kind of has the outline of something. It's almost like like Predator, that movie, to a certain degree. But this other stuff that I've picked up, there's been doing stuff to me at night as well. Like I think you find when you wake up and you feel like you've lost all your memory, you feel like your brain's been wiped. So I can remember some dreams last night. There was something to do with using the guns, and I test fired the gun, and it didn't have any real ammo to it. It was more about sort of just, I don't know, just having these guns and seeing what I'd do with them, I'd imagine. But I just checked what sort of ammo it had in it. So maybe it was an observation experiment. And then there was something else about some sort of weird sexual stuff as well. That was to do with it was to do with, basically it was about somebody. She said her partner couldn't release his shaft. This is very bizarre. It was the language. The language didn't make sense, and is asking if I want to somehow release it. Basically saying the impotent in some way. This gentleman, but it seems very strange what it was requesting, and also in the dream it just seemed a bit out of script really. So I mean, there's other things as well. I've noticed it's sort of like I've been having these line of moles. You could probably just see them across my head here, but they follow a dot, and they're just a fine line of things. Like you might notice no moles turn up on your body, but you won't necessarily know if they have a pattern to them. It's quite unusual. Some other stuff with the like tinnitus, so it's kind of like in essence it's like a download of information as well as some ascension process. There was some information about regeneration, and that with us we do our stem cell research, but you could have somebody in some type of cryotube, kind of vitals or something, vitals, and you could turn a person back into their stem cells, but in essence they would have to kill them, I'd imagine, to do that, and then you can regenerate their form. So where the body's got diseased, I mean there may be a way to keep the head alive, but I'd imagine that somebody would want to sort of regenerate the whole body if they could. But there's a way you could do it and just turn into basically a blob of biomatter and then reanimate. I can almost see something now. It's very bizarre. It's like maybe they're growing a human. I can see I can see a brain and a nervous system of this being that's just floating in this fluid. They use something like a serum or an embryonic type fluid that it would need to put the body in to regenerate it. I think it's technology that might become to humans at some point. So there's also other stuff I mentioned about ascension. That there'll be a way to regenerate your form, so that, I mean, I think you still go through a certain amount of aging process, but you could regenerate better, and then extend your life, or keep the avatar basically. So it's kind of recycling. You keep hold of your body, and just being able to the ability to regenerate. Anyway, anytime it degenerates is when you let it get old. I think possibly for children, if they had that ability, they could remain children for a lot longer if they wanted to. But if they stop regenerating, they age, and they probably grow in height and so on. They might do anyway. It might be something that's preset that they can't alter the aging process. But it'd be interesting. So it comes back to this idea of this matrix, and it could be manipulated to a certain degree. And as we're kind of the creators of in this world, in this universe, that we kind of have more freedom to explore that and develop it. It'd be also nice to have the ability to travel dimensions and go interdimensional. I think it's understanding that responsibility comes with it. It's not to go there into different places and disrupt it. It's basically to learn from it, and I guess support the creator in his design. There may be situations whereby that you may have to take some active role, because you'd have to be your life is purpose, so you have to do something. You can't be like the observer in the situation necessarily. And then I think it's just getting that balance. I mean, some of these other entities have gone to different worlds and proclaim themselves as kind of godlike. It was anything they could probably convey across, that we're some higher form of being, and that we are God, that kind of idea. But you don't want to go to a world and get them to worship you in the same way. I think that'd be it's not really productive for themselves. Just look at the human culture. We've been trapped in this bubble of reality for quite some time, and where things have been written down and turned into indoctrination, and dogma has been stuck in it. It's trapped people. They haven't really developed spiritually. Some of them have got these sort of like, well, if you want answers, go here. But you might want to go here. You might want to go to the heart, and you want to live, or you might want to learn from different cultures, rather than just have this narrow band of thinking everything can be in one book or any particular place. I'm trying to think if there's anything else important I've learned from the Greys. But I think the current information on them is a little bit hazy. I think it needs to just be ironed out. I don't know what their agenda is. Also, it might be quite important is that people talk about things like alien invasion. Well, there wouldn't be, because they're already here. If they're already observing us, I mean, an attack on the humans would be also an attack on other species as well, other beings here, and also mucking up their work, whatever work they're into. I mean, the other night I was laid up in bed and just going to sleep, and sometimes these things turn up. But I had this funny, sharp feeling in my leg, and I think it was like an intravenous thing where they've stuck something's gone in there, even if it's in some sort of energetic form. But when I moved it, it hurt. So it was like it's almost going inside my veins via my ankle and upwards. Either that I've got thrombosis or something, but I don't think there's that. So for me and my ascension process is just really to keep my body fairly healthy, and keep it with nutrients and minerals. Minerals is probably one of the essential things. Because there's minerals that want to be in normal foods and left out. You need to get hold of them and keep pumping them into your body. I've heard that like selenium's important, and there's a few good others. You just have to research. I think getting your colloidal silver, I might get some more colloidal metals and take more dosage of them because it's important to the body. And like I say, you might not survive the ascension process if it gets to a certain level. The octave of my tinnitus is going up, and it's really high at the moment. Yeah, even when you concentrate on it, there it is. But also, it can be manipulated. So I'm using that to manipulate with my consciousness. So if I raise the frequency like I'm doing now, and then also you have the ability to lower the frequency. So it's a new ability basically developing. It might allow for dimensional, like I say, go interdimensional type abilities. I'd imagine people would be quite scared by that, and the government, if everyone turned into like X-Men. But to be honest, it won't be. Yeah, I think with anything, you wouldn't be granted these abilities if you were gonna go off and misuse them. You know, a bit like it give you a certain invulnerability to certain things, and there may be, if the government gets fearful, they'll be looking at ways to use energy weapons against people that could dimensionally shift. Walk through walls. Imagine these kind of abilities, or you could kill somebody just putting your hand inside their body and actually damaging their nervous system. So these kind of abilities, or you put your hand straight into their brain, and then game over for them. But we wouldn't need to do things like that. It's because like I said, it's with the intention you wouldn't have these abilities. And I think you'd possibly lose them if you started going around going off on one. The creator in itself is neutral. It said it loves all it creates, but it also has a trinity. So these other sides of it may form a type of ego, like material aspects, material type God, and there's more the ethereal, and there's this mixture of this sort of quantum reality we live in. Anyway, I'm sorry it's a waffle. So hopefully this has been useful about the greys and stuff, and speak to you soon.